Nassau, Bahamas, at the Kendallized Gymnasium. And my guest today is Aubrey Russell. Okay, great. Angela, pleasure meeting you.
Pleasure meeting you as well.
Good, and thanks for spending time with me.
It's my pleasure.
Okay, now, Governor's Harvey Lutheran. In New York City, there are quite a number of Lutherans there. There are several deals that were members of the organization. I'm president of the Bahamian American Cultural Society. So there's another organization, and I was very friendly with some of those Brooklyn Lutherans. They say, we tend to have something in common through marriage with my in-laws and my family, other family members. Yeah, but you're from Governor's Harvey Lutheran.
Yes, and do you know Ilus was called the Land of Freedom?
Land of Freedom.
This is where the loyalists, after they left Bermuda, went to Ilus, and Captain William Said, we heard about him, of course. He brought them over to Ilus, and they landed in one of the settlements, and of course, one of the main settlements that they landed at was at the Governor's Harbor.
Okay.
And indeed, the first Parliament of the Bahamas was in Ilus.
Okay.
So we have a great history, and this was in 1648.
1648. Wow. So you do have a lot of history there for 1648. Yeah, with the loyalists coming over, and so who were the first settlements in Lutheran?
Well, of course, they landed in Current, where they have the cave.
Okay.
And then, as I said, William Said also went to Governor's Harbor. So Governor's Harbor and in the northern part of Ilus. This is where they first settled.
Okay, great. So tell me, Angela, give me a little information about yourself.
Well, I'm an educator by profession. I just retired. I've taught for 44 years. Being a teacher and administrator, and I'm ending as a principal of 90 years. Okay, I am married to Russell, who was a former general manager of the Telco. We have 2 children, Christina and Barry. Yes, well, I began my education in Governor's Harbor for my first 9 years of life. Then I was brought into Nassau. I attended the Southern Junior and Senior Schools, which is now Columbus Primary, and on to the Government High School, where I spent 5 years there. Off to Bahamas Teachers College, and I'm also a graduate of St. Benedict's University, the College of St. Benedict's in Minnesota, where I obtained a Bachelor of Arts degree, magna cum laude.
Okay, great. Now your father was a politician.
Yes.
That was Preston H. Albury. He was very well known politically. What was it like growing up in those days with a father being involved in politics?
Well, to tell you the truth, I never really got involved in politics. But it opened my mind to what life was all about, and we were current with everything that was happening in the country. And it didn't matter. I tried to be the person that I wanted to be and not to be overshadowed by his personality, his character, and his position in life.
Okay. Do you recall anything that he has done that is still, kind of being done or has improved certain areas?
Well, he was interested in education. And so he was responsible for having a school built in the constituency in which he represented, which was Roxanne. And so the school was named in father. In fact, they're having a function on Monday next week to honor his memory. Daddy was also a unionist, and he was one of those persons who was first an officer in what they call the Amalgamated Union, and this is probably what led him into becoming a politician.
Okay. And so your father was born on Lutheran?
Yes.
And how about your mom?
Yes, in fact they were next door neighbors to each other. The boy and girl next door, so to speak.
Interesting. How many brothers and sisters do you have?
Well, my parents had 14 children, but there are 6 of us alive. 3 girls and 3 boys.
It was like living in a large family like that.
Oh, you had to learn how to share. and how to get on with one another.
Okay.
And that's augured me well for being a person in the community and working with teachers.
Right. So, in teaching, what was your main subject? Did you specialize in anything particular?
The English language and religious education, of course, and literature played part of that as well. These were the things that I specialized in. But the majority of my years was spent as an administrator, to be honest.
Oh, I see. Okay. And did any of your children, follow in that footstep as a teacher or in the education field?
My daughter Christina, she is a lecturer at Bahamas Baptist Institute, and she has a master's degree in chemistry.
So great. So that's a field that is is very, very important today.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we're short of that type of person, especially in that particular field, and so she finds it really, not difficult, but she's in demand in some areas.
Right. Yeah, that's a field that's in demand in the United States as well, in the area of science, and they're kind of introducing kind of special interest in that. There's a special interest in that particular field to recruit students coming out of college and interested in education to go into that field because there's a definite need in that area.
Well, we are short as well. We have a shortage in the area of science and mathematics here in the Bahamas, and the government is trying to work every time to see if they can get persons who are interested in those areas.
Okay. Now, is this your first book,
Yes,
God's Inspiration?
Yes, it is.
By V. Angela Russell.
Yes, it is, and I have another one that's about to be printed.
Good. Now, I didn't have a chance to read through some of your poems, but some of them are very interesting. I know there's one priest here in the Bahamas that we're very fond of, and that's William Thompson.
Yes, Archdeacon, the late Archdeacon William Thompson.
Archdeacon William Thompson,
Yes,
and you wrote a poem. What struck you about him that you wanted to write a poem about him?
He was a lover of humankind. He was always willing to assist others, sending them to college at his expense. And he was a historian. He knew about the Bahamas, and he also knew about the politics of the country at that time. In addition, he was a brother to my then priest, Father Gilbert Thompson. So I knew them both extremely well, and I thought I'd do something in honor of him when he died.
Okay. Now, before you read the poem that you did on him, why God's Inspiration?
Well, I have to preface that before I answer the question.
Okay.
As a child growing up in Governor's Harbor, we always had concerts for the children of that particular settlement, and I was always chosen to either do the welcoming address or to read some poems, and so this really inspired me, to want to do things like that when I got a little older. I came into Nassau, and I had a teacher, Mrs. Bruce Claffordridge, and another one, Susan Wallace, who herself is a poet, and they would always ask me to read read the stories, and so this really made me interested in writing poetry myself. And then I went into high school, a government high school, and they had competitions in prose reading, in poetry, in impromptu speaking, and I always participated. So this was a dream of mine, really, to write. But then when I became a teacher, to answer your question, when I became a teacher, I would always write poems for my students to repeat and even to enter in competitions, and they were successful, and sometimes we would win the first prize in the competitions. But still I did nothing. When I became a principal, our school was having an anniversary, and I wrote a poem, and so my vice principal said, well, why don't you put these poems in a book? You're just wasting your talent. So I sat down And just in one night, 8 points came to my mind. Another night, 5 or 6 points. I just sat in my bed and I just wrote these points. I kept on writing. And so I said, wow, it can't be me. It has to be God. And so I said, here, it's the name of my book, God's Inspiration.
Okay, very nice. Interesting story. Very nice. Beautiful story. Love it. Love it.
And if you look in there, you'll see I have some poems of my childhood. And then, of course, I followed up with the Archdeacon Thompson. People who impacted my life, I also wrote about them. And then I wrote about things in for Christmas, Easter, what have you.
Okay, let's read the one on Archdeacon William Thompson. Yeah, here it is. It's here.
I need my...
Oh, right behind you.
A mighty warrior of God has fallen, William Edward, Archdeacon of the diocese, a victim of crime and violence who stood for peace. This violence is plaguing the Bahamas like a disease. For 4 decades he served his master, priest, husband, historian, scholar, known and esteemed the wide world over. Knew his Bible from cover to cover. Brother, son, uncle, and friend, we did not think that his life would end. So tragically, for he was still afire to continue God's work even though he'd retired. He had such a forgiving nature. He loved every living creature. His murderer we knew he forgave, and asked the Lord his soul to save. Beloved by all, he'll be sadly missed, but he's gone to much a better place than this. To hear the Master say, well done, for the cause of life he has run. A legacy he left behind. St. Agnes Parish will be hard-pressed to find a Bahamian son so faithful and true, who loved his countrymen, both me and you. He has fought the good fight. He has kept the faith. He now stands tonight at heaven's open gate. Sleep on, Archdeacon William Thompson. Take your rest. We love you, but Jesus loves you best.
Beautiful, good, well done. Yeah, it really tells the story of the person.
Yes.
Yeah, he was loved by a lot of people.
Oh, he certainly was.
And his passing was a shock.
Oh yes.
Throughout the Bahamas.
The whole country, was in mourning at the time.
On his death. Yeah. Is there someone your special poem? Which one would you consider to be a special poem? And I noticed there's another one there. Archdeacon Bishop Eldon.
Oh yes.
Michael Eldon.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember him fondly at St. George's Church.
Yes, and you said that a number of parishes before becoming bishop used his Grand Bahama at one time as well.
Okay.
In St.
At St. Margaret's Church. Would you like to read that one?
I certainly would.
Okay.
Bishop Michael Eldon. The firstborn Bahamian bishop of the diocese was the right Michael Eldon, if you please. Educator, shepherd, son and brother. In the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, there is none other. Soft-spoken, I say, loving and caring, a soldier of God marks his bearing. Committed, dedicated to his cause and people. Family life was not sought, so he focused on the steeple. Bishop, we are your children, your brothers and sisters. You have always tried in every way to please us. Man of sacrifice, man of God, continue in the steps that the Master trod. Honored by your native land, for God and country you did stand. Humble, highest man of God, we all love you with one accord. Retired, but still in the Master's service. Accolade after accolade, he deserves it. This wonderful, jolly Bahamian son, God's messenger for aid, to the victories won. Michael Eldon, first Bahamian bishop, continue our one true God to worship.
It's quite. When you read the poems, it's quite a picture here. You're
And
painting.
this is my goal, to let people to see, to make it such an imagery, I call it, and vividness, that people can actually see what's happening, what I'm trying to portray.
Right. Well done. So I like for you to pick one now. I'm kind of being very pushing and selecting. So.
You know, as I said, I've written some of them in Bahamian dialect.
Oh, yes,
because
some
things you really to get the flavor, the fervor, and whatever, you need to put it in the language that we speak every day, rather than the standard English. Okay.
And you have one in Luther too.
Yes, I do.
We'll come back to that.
Yes, because that's
the dialect is very interesting to hear the Bahamian dialect. It's like my show is called Damn Bahamians, and everyone wants to know, like, well, what's the meaning of damn? Damn.
Well, I have some, as a child, going for wood, wild dogs, crabbing, cocoa plumbing, killing of the pig, foul snake, and so forth. Okay, I'll read the one. I'll read foul snake.
Okay.
We went to the field with Grandma every morn. The first thing she'd do is she'd roast some corn. One day, I decided to climb the dilly tree. It's succulent fruit, so good to eat. I stretched out my hand to the fruit to take. I touched instead a big foul snake. Smooth and leathery, it felt to the touch. But for me, it was a bit too much. From the top of the tree straight down to the ground, Russell-Albury came tumbling down. So did the snake, I'm sorry to say. Down in the water, a cool bath to take. Up came Grandma with a cutlass so sharp, I chopped that foul snake right in half. What a fright I'd had. But I'm glad to say, thank the Lord, I was quite okay.
That's quite cute. I can very well picture that. Yes. Having spent some time on the island and going into the field with my grandmother, you would hear the snakes rattling in the grass. And my grandmother would not tell me that was the snake she usually saw. She said, let's go this way, let's go this way. And crabbing, we went crabbing too, so I like those poems for crabbing, and there too, when you go crabbing, she would go running because she thought it was a crab, but come to find it was a foul snake or some snake crawling.
I've experienced of trying to dig out a crab and there was a snake in the hole. But the experiences that you can't forget.
Right.
And I'm afraid that our children today didn't have the privilege of those things. They don't know what they've missed. And they take everything for granted. But I have a poem here about the mattress, how we made mattresses to put on the bed.
And with grass.
Right, with grass.
Yeah.
And you tell the children those things today, they laugh at you.
Well, I lived with my grandmother, and I slept on a grass bed. Yeah.
So do you know what I'm talking about?
Okay. I lived on the island for quite a number of years, so I kind of, the experience has stayed with me for a long time.
And those things help to mold you to the person that you are.
Right. Interesting. So this is your first book?
Yes, it is.
And do you have another one in the works? Or?
Yes, it's called Biblical Animals Tell Their Story.
Okay.
And let the animals in the Bible tell the story from their perspective.
Interesting.
If you think of Balaam and the donkey tells the story how he sees it. The pig in the prodigal son does the same. And then the camel with the wise men and so forth and so on. And then there's a moral at the end of each one. But that's something that the children can learn from what the animals had to say.
Okay, interesting, interesting. So, when do you think, how far have you reached with this book?
Well, it's been to the published this since March of this year, so I'm just waiting to get it from them.
Interesting. Did you bring a script from
I
your...
thought about that, but I because I have it on computer, but I didn't do it. I should have.
Oh, interesting to get the donkey story and what's it?
I can pull it up and let you have a look at it too.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. Interesting. So, your husband, is he a part of your project?
Not really, but he has been encouraging me, to follow my dreams, which is to write books on poems and whatnot.
Okay, what does he think about some of the poems you written?
Oh, especially the ones in dialect. Oh, he just kills himself laughing.
Yeah. I kind of cringe when you talk about the file. I can imagine you going and grabbing thinking you're grabbing
but really, but if you don't mind, I'd like to share one I wrote about my family.
Sure.
It's sad, but page 43. God has been so good to me, and what He has done in my life and that of my family, that I can forget Him in anything that I do.
Right.
And I give Him thanks and praise all the time. It's about my family. Thank you, God, for giving me my immediate family, husband, children, my dear mother, my 2 loving sisters, and my 3 brothers. Barrett, you're my mate, my life. I'll try to be an even better wife. Chrissy, BJ, Mommy loves you. Without you, I don't know what I'd do. Chrissy, God has healed you of cancer. He's even healed you of congestive heart failure. What an awesome God we truly serve. He does more for us than we deserve. Barrett Jr., although you are ill, please know my son, He's with you still. He'll be with you until the end. God is closer to you than family or friend.
Beautiful, beautiful, well done. Well, Angela, it has been really a joy, and I love talking with you and hearing some of your stories. Is there another dialect poem that you'd like to read before we close?
Yes.
Yeah.
As you can see, these are really my joy.
Yeah, those dialect ones are really nice.
Well, there's...
I mean, all of them are, but to hear the dialect, I haven't,
There's one about thief, stop that thief, and then there's one about spirits.
Oh, yes, there's
Spirits. If spirits hand you, you know how they just grin? Close your eyes and say, 10, 10, the Bible 10. Wear your clothes inside out. Then hold tail and give a big shout. When you hear the bush them crack, you know them spirits be on your track. If you read the 23rd Psalm, that'll keep you out of the spirits them arm. Don't you look a terrible sight? 'Cause if you get it, you'll get a terrible fright. When your hair raised and your most in the days, the spirits them walking on their wiry legs. Hear them bones them cracking, making a terrible din, with your loudest voice smacking, shout 10, 10, the Bible 10.
Those are so familiar. 10, 10, 10, the Bible 10.
There are also many old traditions we have about spirits and things that we believe and not believe, or what you hear our parents, ancestors have said that have been passed down through the ages.
Right. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, great. So, thank you very much, Angela. It has been really a pleasure.
Thank you for this opportunity to share with you, and I've been hearing sisters and brothers over there.
Yeah, sure,
Continue
definitely.
the good work, and God bless and keep you.
But thank you, thank you.
An educator of 44 years standing.
And my captain from Girls Brigade.
Yes, and someone is telling me captain of their girls' brigade. During my time of teaching, I had the opportunity to write a number of poems, and I'd like to share some of them with you this afternoon. Some of these poems are in dialect and some in standard English. It would help, please, if you're quiet at this time. Thank you so much. The first one I will read is called Teeth. We've had lots of crime in our Bahama lands, nothing that we are proud of, but I just thought I'd write on one of these issues. Teeth! Teeth! Stop that teeth! He gone with my money, lock and key. I've trimming my hair, I'm minding my business, then my head taken with a giddiness. And all of a sudden, I felt a joint. As a vagabond stole my big black purse. You know if I hold him in my hand, he'll have something to tell God and man. I earned my money through blood, sweat, and tears. Near a holiday I had all year. Teeth! Stop that teeth! I hope you turn over a brand new leaf. There's another one I'm going to share with you. It's called Foul Snake. As a child, I often went into the fields with my grandmother. I was born on the island of Eleuthera. And we had to wear big banners on our head, go barefoot, And as we went in the field, this was my experience with the foul snake. We went to the field with Grandma every morning. First thing she'd do, she'd roast some corn. One day, I decided to climb the dilly tree. It's succulent fruit for to eat. I stretched out my hands to the fruit to take, and touched instead a big foul snake. Smooth and leathery, it felt to the touch. But for me, it was too much. From the top of the tree straight down to the ground, as the Aubrey came tumbling down. So did the snake, I'm sorry to say, down in the water, a cool bath to take. Up came Grandma with her cutlass so sharp, and chopped that snake right in half. What a fright I'd had. I'm glad to say, thank the Lord, I was quite okay. The pig. Early in the morning, before daybreak, a tub of hot water from the fire to take. All the children are sent to bed, so we won't see how the big black the big pig dead. Out the door we sneak right back to see Richard Parks with a thick axe. Knock the pig in the middle of his head. Big black pig fell down dead. Pig skinned and cut up, we look on in a daze. This tender meat has been engaged. To the neighbors we take each portion, put in the pan and to take round with caution. Clean the entrails out in the sea. Glad them up for sour squeezing. Johnny cake will now be baked. Served with the delicious pig we partake. And this is to teachers. I know some of the librarians are teachers. It's called A New Beginning. Each school year, It's a new beginning. Just as in baseball, it's a brand new inning. Another chance to begin anew the things that you would have me do. A time to apply myself to lessons. A time to ask all sorts of questions. A time to discipline myself and put disruptive behavior on the shelf. A chance to be a good role model for others coming behind to follow. A time to bring my teacher joy for being a well-rounded girl or boy. A time to show my parents too, from the very beginning, what I will do. A time to show how much I care for all God's people everywhere. Learn my lessons, stay out of fights, serve the Lord with all my might. Thank you, God, for a brand new inning. Thank you, God, for a new beginning. Thank you. Toothache. The cake I have to make, I could just get rid of this terrible toothache. This pain is so great from deep inside. I prefer for someone to cut my hide. Your tooth's got a hole, is what I've been told. This pain's driving me crazy. No, I'm not lazy. I didn't sleep a wink last night. This ache I'm trying so hard to fight. Painkillers, they don't work. Ouch! This old tooth still hurts. I'm going to the dentist today. For this work, I will pay. Lord, it would be a big break from this old terrible toothache. Crabbing. Moonlight night? What a sight! With bag and lantern, we go crabbing. Stick in hand, hat on your head, dig under rocks. Leave that one, he dead. Finger caught in a biter. Oh, what pain! Dig under rocks, leave that. We're still getting beating with Mr. Bessel's cane. Bag full now, we've caught crabs by the score. No more room for even one more. Boy, we tired. Yawning so soon. It's really time to get back home. On the sea rocks. Walking in the sea rocks of Governor's Harbor, I came to see many a wonder. Sea crabs, hownies left in pools, enough little fish to form a school. Wilts and curbs and DDTs, my oh my, what a gentle breeze. Listen to the cedars as they sigh, to the sound of the gull as he passes by. Counts galore to make a tasty dish. Give me a piece of that fried fish. Junior, Hillard, Ruth, and Veezy, will you kindly stop that teasing? Look how far the tide has gone in. Where it is from, where it has been. Ain't the wonders of nature mysterious? You'll stop that! It's making me furious! Some of the names that you hear me mention are some of my cousins, brothers, and sisters I would have shared the experiences with. There's someone majority of Bahamians would have heard of and loved dearly in the person of Bishop Michael Eldon. He was the first Bahamian Anglican bishop, I should say. The first Bahamian bishop of this diocese was the Right Michael Eldon, if you please. Educator, shepherd, son and brother. In the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, there is no other. Soft-spoken, I say, loving and caring. A soul to God marks his bearing. Committed, dedicated to his God and people. Family life was not sought as he focused on the steeple. Bishop, we are your children, your brothers and sisters. You have always tried in every way to please us. Man of sacrifice, man of God, continue in the steps that the Master trod. Honored by your native land, for God and country you did stand. Humble, pious, man of God, we all love you with one accord. Retired, but still in the Master's service. Accolade after accolade, he deserves it. This wonderful, jolly Bahamian son, God's messenger for aid till the victory's won. Michael Eldon, first Bahamian bishop, continue our one true God to worship. This poem is written while he was still alive and ill. Junk canoe. Orange, yellow, red, white, and blue are the subcolors used for junk canoe. Myriads of colors just like the rainbow. Splash onto Bay Street, everything's a go-go. Look at that drummer beating his heart out. The rhythm's just pounding as gyrating you do shout. Cowbells clanging, whistles are blowing, horns of all sorts keep the melody going. Group after group depicting their themes, Saxons, Valley Boys, Roots, what a scene! Dancing and prancing, we see Percy shuffle, God's come around here with junk canoe shuffle. Judges face a tough decision to find the winners of this vision. Groups competing at their very best. Feet start hurting, they need a rest. Gets a nice big hay, which helps them again for New Year's Day. Boxing Day junk canoe, what a treat! That costume is heavy. He's going to eat. Competition is over. They've all done their best. It's time to go home for a good day's rest. Weary and worn, they drag their feet, homeward bound to go to sleep. Flowers. Flowers of every size and color. Sweet fragrance, no fragrance, softer than butter. Kissed by God's breath, they gently unfold. Kept in their habitat, their joy to behold. Red, blue, pink, green, purple, peach, and yellow. White, black, lilac hybrid, that's mellow. Masterpieces of God's creation, messengers of love in every nation. Covering many lovers' bars are the beautiful things called flowers. Sent in happiness, sent in pain, but never ever sent in vain. God has made beautiful things called flowers, watered by his well-sent showers. Wild dogs. In Harlem is where Mr. Cordy lived.
He had many goats and near a pig. One night down there, all hell broke loose. They were shouting and hollering from pillar to post. The wild dogs, them, they like goat meat. Mr. Cody goats, they began to eat. Blood was flowing everywhere. The dogs, them goats' throats did tear. Mr. Cody, my boy, he see red. He bet I'd shoot them wild dogs dead. Bang, bang was heard all around as Mr. Cody shoot them wild dogs down. The wild dogs was left from the Navy base. The Americans them left Eleuthera in haste. Mr. Cody say he fixed them good. He left them outside to be good food. No more snarling and howling down Harlem Way. Mr. Cody fixed that, I'm glad to say. Governor Saba people can go to sleep. Finally now, they can rest in peace.
And now I'll give you a sample of the seniors at Christmas. Holly Jolly. Thank you. Let's play something a little different. William Tell. Thank you. The members of the Bahamas Music Conservatory start as young as and by the time they're 4.5, 5, they're playing in the orchestra. So I think our youngest member out today is 5. Is there anybody who's still 4? No, our youngest member playing today is 5 years old. Our oldest member, I'm not telling you. But as you can see, we go beyond 18. Only a little bit, though.
Hi, I'm Gary Brown. This is the Hair Lab TV show. We come on every Wednesday night, channel 56 at midnight. This show's for all hair textures, all nationalities. So you ready to go to the next level? Tune in Wednesday midnight, Hair Lab TV show.